Alright, so what I'm going to do, hypothetically speaking, let's say we have our beat and it's playing, it's been playing for like 16 beats or whatever. At the end, alright, at the end of that 16 beats, we can do a snare roll, we can do a tom roll if you got toms. Mainly, that's why it's important to know your time signature. If you listen to music, and maybe I can post an example of the website, but if you listen to music, there's certain things that happen. I know a lot of people say that there are no rules in music, but there are actually a lot of things that repeat themselves if you're an active listener. So that tom roll I'm probably going to have to save for another tutorial, but hopefully from my description, you understand what I'm talking about. While I'm here, I'm going to show you, I know that I did a tutorial on snare rolls before, but I'm going to show you another way that you can do it. I'm going to add an RPG. I just created an RPG from this NN19, and I'm using my MIDI keyboard to automatically make that snare roll, and I can increase the rate here. And as you play it on the MIDI keyboard, you basically have an automatic snare roll. And I mean, that's a snare roll in a nutshell. So that's another tool that you can use for your drum programming, is just using the RPG or arpeggiator for your snares. You can also do it for your tom rolls. And that is that. So let's move on to the bass drum. I added a bass drum here. Let me find that. Alright, and the reason I put the bass drum in the NN19 is so that we could play with the actual different keys. In a lot of Dirty South music, you hear that Dirty South sub in the background, and mainly, I mean, this is how you accomplish it. You just use an NN19 or something simple that'll allow you to play different notes and not just one note. You really don't want to use this bass drum in the redrum because you can't utilize the different notes. I had a member on my forum yesterday ask me how do you emulate the cutoff feature that they have in Fruity Loops. That's the feature where you can play a button on your keyboard, and as soon as you hit another button, then the first sound that you were playing will stop. Mainly, this is how you accomplish that in Reason. If you reduce the polyphony to 1 here, and you have your release all the way up, then when you hit a note, it'll play until you hit the next note, and then the first note will stop. So I'm going to illustrate that now. And that's mainly it. So this is it. This is how you get that Dirty South sub. Alright. So if I change that polyphony back up to 8, this is what would happen. And let me turn the release up. As you can see, everything is playing at once and it sounds extremely sloppy. So that's mainly it. So I just want to, just throw a couple tips and hints out there. I would definitely do an in-depth in order. I know I kind of jumped around from topic to topic on this tutorial, but I just wanted to show you a couple things that you can do. There's also tricks with this redrum that you can do just to have more control over each one of your individual samples. For example, if you wanted to just route, we can disconnect these, and you can actually route each channel of the redrum into its own channel on the mixer. For example, if I just wanted to put this kick into channel 1, then I'm free to do that, and it's not going to play because my stereo out is not hooked up. Let's put you. Yeah, I'll delete the mastering sweet. And we'll try it again. Undo you, and we'll put you right there. There you go. Alright, I messed up on the routing. Oh, and actually, I'm using the wrong mixer. There we go. So I don't know if you kept up with that, but I mainly just connected the redrum to the mixer here, and I still can't hear sound, so there's something going on. Got my master out. It's muted. There we go. So I mean, that's something that you can do. You can actually, if you want to, and this would be a better idea, you can run. Let me undo this. You can run your instruments directly into the compressor, and then out of the compressor into the mixer, and that gives you a lot more control, because then you don't have to utilize your sends and returns. You can, reserve those for whatever. But hopefully you learned something from this. And I mean, this is really not a tutorial. Like I said, I was bouncing around from topic to topic, but hopefully you learned something. With the redrum, you also have, your length here. You can truncate your samples. You can make them longer or shorter. You can change the velocity. You can pan. We'll get into that on the mixing tutorial. Something else that people wonder about in this version 4 is this regroove mixer here. Now, let's say you did want to utilize the snare roll. Let me find that. So let's say you didn't want to utilize your snare roll, or better yet, let me just record something. Alright, let's say you recorded something and it wasn't exactly on time, and you wanted to just change, you wanted to make it sooner or later or whatever you'd like to do. That's mainly what the regroove mixer is for. You can add swing to your drum samples. You can move things forward, you can move them backward. It gives you more control than the bars. And actually I have my snap on, so it gives you more control than just these options here. You can actually move things over to fit your need, or mainly whatever you want to. If I select A1 here on the snare, hopefully you can see that, and on A1 here we have slide, we have shuffle. I'm going to play this again, and increasing the slide, increasing the shuffle manipulates this information here. I don't know if you can hear that, but just moving that slide actually changes where those snares drop. So this is another tool that you can use if you're having timing problems. Then you definitely want to use Regroove to try to get your snares or get your drums or whatever it is back on track. You can even do it with sampling. If you're banging out a sample, then definitely, I mean, if it's off track, try to use that Regroove to get it back where you want it to be. So hopefully, like I said, hopefully you learned something from this tutorial. And if you have any other questions, you can hit me up on my discussion forum at divinemindproductions.com.